In this video, we're going to take an in-depth look at automation editing in Clip View. So what is automation? Automation is how we can change parameters automatically within the timeline. To be able to edit the automation, we must first go to Clip View by clicking on the clip. Next, we need to make sure the envelope panel is displayed by pressing the envelope show hide button at the bottom of the screen. We can now see and select the different automation envelopes for any given clip. If we click different track parameters, such as the send volumes, we can see that Live automatically updates to show us the automation for this parameter. We can also access this by right-clicking the parameter and then selecting Show Automation from the drop-down menu. Finally, we can use the drop-down menus within the envelope panel to show us what automation to show. The top menu specifies whether the automation is from a mixer, MIDI controller, or a device, whereas the lower menu is for the actual parameter selection within the subgroup. So for example, the Send B level would come somewhere under the mixer category. We can use the clip automation for a multitude of different reasons, from splashing a drum track with bits of reverb and delay to building large crescendos and washy breakdowns. We can select automation areas by highlighting them. We can also drag the selection up and down, as well as being able to delete the automation by pressing delete on the keyboard. We can add an automation node or breakpoint by single clicking on the automation line. We can also double click a node to remove it. We can also grab a node and drag it round. Notice how you can't drag it past the nodes to the left and the right of it. We can overwrite these nodes by holding down the Shift key whilst we're clicking and dragging. This deletes the nodes and overwrites with a new automation line. If we hover the mouse over the automation, we can see the automation line goes blue. We can now hold down Alt and drag the automation to create convex or concave automation curves. If we press B, we can also draw in automation with the pencil tool, depending on the grid size stipulated in the bottom right of the screen. I recommend keeping this to an adaptive grid size, so it automatically updates when you zoom in and out. If we move our warp markers around, we can see that the automation moves with it. This is because the automation is linked to our markers. We can unlink this automation by pressing the orange linked button in the envelope panel. This enables us to have different loop lengths for our automation and our audio. To jump between the automation and the clip when it's unlinked, simply click the envelope or sample panel's title bar. Now we can duplicate the automation loop a few times, so it's an 8-bar loop, and we can build a crescendo effect to automate over these bars, even though the audio that's looping is only 1 bar in length. Next we have modulation envelopes. It's important that you understand the difference between automation and modulation envelopes, especially if you intend to use lots of automated clips in a live environment. As you can see from the red automation node on this knob, we've got some send automation on this clip. If we're playing live and we want to adjust this parameter, we can simply turn the send. However, notice that the red node is now greyed out. This automation has now been disabled. We can press the re-enable automation button to get it back. However, this will reset the adjustment that we've just made. So basically, you can only have one or the other. You can't have automation on a track while still being able to adjust its automated parameter on the fly, and vice versa. This is where modulation comes in. Modulation lets us modulate the parameter just as we would automate it normally. However, this modulation is relative to the parameter's value. As we edit and tweak the value, the automation will change to match this. To modulate, we simply right-click a parameter and choose Show Modulation from the drop-down menu. We can now modulate a parameter, and we can see that the modulation is relative to the original positioning of that parameter. As the parameter changes, so does the modulation. This means that we can tweak on the fly while still having full control of our automation. And we can also see how the orange bar moves up and down on the parameter knob to show this modulation as well. To recap, in this video we've looked at clip automation and how we can edit it, as well as linked and unlinked automation, and also modulation and how we can use this in a live environment.